This is government SS1 class. Our topic for today is the rule of law. Of course, last week we looked at the rule of law, but we looked at the meaning of rule of law and the main principles of rule of law according to A.V. Dicey. According to A.V. Dicey and the basic interpretations. Alright, today we're going to look at the problems of application of the rule of law and factors that ensure the successful operation of the rule of law. Now, problems of application of the rule of law. Number 1, state of emergency. Citizens of a country may be denied some of their fundamental human rights and the application of the rule of law limited when a state of emergency is declared in a country. State of emergency can lead to government acquiring wider and uncontrollable powers, indiscriminate arrest and detention without trials, secret trials, etc. Number 2, types of government. A one-party system can grow into dictatorship, thereby limiting the application of the rule of law. Now, the type of government adopted in a country, for instance, military rule and one-party system of government that tend to be autocratic and dictatorial, act as serious limitation to the application of the rule of law. Do you understand? Number 3, partial judiciary. The rule of law is also limited to a partial judiciary or lack of independence of the judiciary. Number 4, special or administrative tribunals. Special or administrative tribunals. They are not constitutional or legal court. These tribunals adopt special system of trial different from that of the ordinary court, which the rule of law forbids, and they do not allow appeal against their judgment. Number 5, poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance. This can limit the application of the rule of law. How? Of course, there are 3 enemies of man. These greatest 3 enemies of man do not allow citizens of a country to know and fight for their rights, especially when they are infringed upon. Number 6, granting of discretional powers. Sometimes, government officials are granted considerable discretional powers to enable them carry out their duties effectively. These officials often misuse these powers to the extent that the rule of law may be seriously undermined. Number 7, diplomatic immunity. Diplomats cannot be prosecuted in the country where they are residing as accredited representatives of their country. That is, ambassadors cannot be sued and prosecuted in the countries where they are serving. Rather, they can be repatriated, and this undermines the rule of law. Number 8, obnoxious laws. Certain punishments administered by the law enforcement agents, example, the police, are limitations to the application of the rule of law. Since many governments deliberately enact laws that empower the head of state to arrest and detain citizens without trial, and this limits the application of the rule of law. 9, we have police brutality. Police brutality. In many countries, especially developing ones, the police arrest, detain, and brutalize citizens for mere accusation of an offense. These acts neglect the rule of law that says that an accused person should be assumed innocent until a court of law presided over by free and fair and impartial judgment finds him guilty. Do you understand? Okay. Number 10. We have parliamentary immunity. Parliamentary immunity. Members Okay, the lawmakers are immune from every utterance, actions, and statements made in parliament. Here, members of the parliament cannot be sued or prosecuted based on the statements they make on the floor of the house, no matter how false they may be, which means they are not equal before the law with other citizens. This also undermines the rule of law. Number 11, delegated legislation. 11, delegated legislation. Many bodies with powers of delegated legislation have often used such powers to the detriment of the application of the rule of law. Now also, delegated legislation, statutory instruments, bylaws, etc. have made the rule of law so complex that the citizens do not know the legal implications of their actions and activities. 12. Attitude of government. In most cases, the executive might refuse to honor the decisions of the law court. That is, some citizens' positions like the head of state, ministries, judges, governors, etc. make diocese equality before the law a hoax. Number 13, customs and traditions. Customs and traditions. In the process of trying to respect customs and traditions of a particular people, the application of the rule of law may be neglected. The application of the rule of law is undermined in a bid not to violate the customs and tradition of the people. Do you get it? All right, number 14. Number 14, we have the rich and the privileged few. They often use their wealth and position to prevent justice. That is to say, those in positions of economic wealth in developing countries, especially in West Africa, have used such positions to render the application of rule of law a reuse. All right, number 15 as the last, security of the state. Security of the state. The rule of law can be violated with impunity in a bid to maintain the security of a nation. Wow. For instance, people can be arrested and detained without trial, their movement restricted, and their property confiscated, etc. All for what? Because of what? Security reasons. All right, let's bring it back here to a typical example of what is going on in the world today. Because of corona pandemic, people's freedom of movement, religion, education, etc. are restricted because of what? Safety reason. This also violates the application of the rule of law in the nation. All right, step 2, we have factors that ensure the successful operation of the rule of law. Factors that ensure or aid the successful operation of the rule of law. Number 1, the judiciary must be independent and impartial. I'm going to be very brief. Number 1 here, I have the judiciary must be independent and impartial. Number 2, the press must be free and not to be censored. Number 3, the law to be kept open. That is, the law must not be kept secret but open so that people can easily see it and make reference. 4, there should be no delayed justice, which will lead to denied justice. Because of saying that justice delayed is justice denied. 5, Public trials of the accused persons must not be in secret. It must be made public. Number 6. Okay. I'm going to put number 6 and number 7 together. Now, to avoid tyranny, the principles of separation of powers and checks and balances should be adopted in governments. Number 8, democratic, that is, a democratic system accommodates the operation of the rule of law better than any other system. Number 9 and 10, citizens should be made to have basic education which will warrant them to know their rights, and when such rights are infringed upon, they can seek redress in court of law. Number 11 here, retrospective laws. There should not be the existence of such laws in order to ensure a better and effective enforcement of the rule of law. This means that there must be a constitution that will embody the laws of the land and spell out the rights, duties, and obligations of the citizens. All right, here you have some questions for you to answer to test your understanding. Number 1, what among the following is associated with the concept of the rule of law? A. Jean Bodin. B. A.V. Dicey. C. Baron de Montesquieu. 2. Which of the following is a means of limiting the rule of law? A. Equality before the law. B. Supremacy of law. C. Immunity granted to diplomats. Alright, to enjoy your lesson, remember to copy your notes and also stay safe. Do have a nice day. So we see again in our next class.